In a span of about 6 months, between 2011 and 2012, 600 lost 5 of their friends: Baldy, D-Thang, Lil Steve, Jizzle, and Shaq. And from there, the losses would only stack up, whether it was central figures like L.A. Capone and Lil Boo losing their lives to the streets, or guys like Rondo, C-Day, and D-Rose losing theirs to the prison system.
Man, Rondo, C-Day, and D-Rose, that was the craziest shit in the world, bro. Off of a cab driver that had nothing to do with the body. That's they thought that, well, I don't know about D-Rose. I heard D-Rose got locked up for a body that he ain't do. And he got man, it's fucked up.
From newer guys on the block like Trix to OGs like Stello, members of 600 would lose their lives at a staggering rate in just the space of a few years. Then, the Get Back Gang era would see O-Block and 600 truly bringing war, death, and destruction to the streets of Chicago. And while this resulted in a string of their most high-profile enemies being taken out in just a year's time, this ultimately also led 600, and to a greater extent O-Block, losing many more of their own most prominent members to the grave or the legal system. And the spotlight that all of these events have put on many of the gangs in Chicago's South Side has made it very difficult for members to navigate the streets without the attention of the authorities. And in the years that followed, 600 would sadly continue to lose more prominent members, with only a few of the surviving faces, in many cases trying to move away from the streets and focus on other opportunities. And as a result, many members of 600's departure from the increasingly dangerous gang scene in the modern era, 600 has been described by some as an extinct gang. However, due to their long-standing beef, members from gangs like 051 would still diss 600 heavily to this day. However, 051 Preboy would explain on Twitter that 600 has barely any members left due to either prison or death. 051 Driller would share the same sentiment on his song Everything's Just Fine, where he raps, "We ain't gonna talk about 600, we expired them." Meanwhile, there's also many other 600 members who've been in prison serving long sentences.
Yeah, that's my Instagram right there, Guapoy Cheetah. But it's crazy though that they damn near right though. I ain't gonna lie, bro. It's not that many 600 members left. Like, everybody dead or in jail. Which is crazy as hell, because, you know, like, 600 was a big-ass game, but everybody dead or in jail, bro. Or just stop being with that shit, like, you feel me, trying to change their life. You know, eventually, you gotta change their life eventually.
Sentences, while many of the events of this video have taken place. M-Thang, who himself was locked up for years, would share a huge list in 2023 calling for 10 incarcerated friends to be released. When being a member of the gang is this perilous, perhaps it's not surprising that some members decided for a brief period to leave the streets behind and seek honest employment. Prominent member Edai would actually end up taking a legitimate job as a truck driver for a period of time, something that would shock many drill fans, as he was one of the most hardened and high-profile members of 600 at one point, leading to many people online mocking Edai, with various memes circulating all about him being the most savage truck driver on the roads, to the point where even other members would post laughing about these memes. FBG Duck would publicly mock Edai's job in a back and forth on Twitter between the two. Edai would respond to the criticism himself, calling his haters lame for clowning him for getting a legitimate job, and other posts on Reddit would actually defend him, seeming to suggest that Edai was likely making significant amounts of money with this new career move.
No, he was.
Edai even clarified in an interview that he actually owns the trucking company, and he had plans to own as many as 100 trucks.
So I just recently started a trucking company.
Oh, straight up? Yeah, so you know, I did hear that.
Yeah,
for real?
Yeah, for sure.
I heard that's where the money at, too.
Yeah, that's what the big, I'm trying to hit 100.
Right.
600 Breezy also came to Edai's defense, stating that Edai had always gotten money, driven foreign cars, and makes a lot more money driving trucks than he ever did in the streets.
Hey, talking about get Edai out the truck in the foreign. Now, let me learn you something about my bro, because that's my bro, and that man been riding foreign since he was a teenager. The man drove for a truck company for one time and was still making more money than you. So gonna be crack jokes and talking about truck driver K, that was making money. Period. While Shorty was little ass was still on the block broke. So truck driver get K that making $30 plus an hour.
Now, I think this was an important thing to mention, and I personally think in many ways what Edai was doing was actually something really positive, setting an example for other members that being a gangbanger isn't the be-all and end-all. There's no shame in doing an honest day's work and getting your life back on track. But unfortunately, this shift of lifestyle was not adopted by all members, as in late 2020, only a little over a month after the death of King Von, 600 member JustBlow caught a serious case that would quickly derail his budding music career.
What happened to JustBlow? I forgot. Oh, he did get charged with a body.
JustBlow had shown a lot of promise in his early life, achieving valedictorian status in high school, but ultimately he chose to pursue a life in the streets instead. Luckily, as time went on, JustBlow had seemingly gotten his life back on track, signing a record deal with Lil Durk's OTF collective, plotting a career as a rapper, and putting him in position to potentially be one of the few 600 members that actually escaped the streets through music.
Right.
However, that dream would ultimately be put in jeopardy in December 2020, when JustBlow was arrested for a 2017 home invasion that went wrong, leaving one man dead and 3 others wounded. On October 31st, 2017, JustBlow, together with a member called Unsolved, Edai from the 600 affiliated crew Nico gang, along with a female member called Dice from the low-end base set OBN. They would allegedly try to rob a man in Hammond, Indiana, the same city where 600 Burger lost his life only a few months later in January 2018. According to court documents, Dice, real name Paradise Haynes, had tipped off two of the others on site, aka Tyler, and JustBlow, aka Mitchell, after she had seen a man she knew holding $4,000 on Facebook, but the robbery didn't go as planned. The trio had allegedly gone into the man's apartment acting like they wanted to buy something to smoke, and at one point, Haynes and Tyler asked to use the restroom, while JustBlow allegedly received a gun they had seen in the apartment earlier. When he returned, the two others also pulled their guns, and the trio demanded to know the location of the money that Deese had seen on Facebook. Unfortunately, at some point, a fight ensued, and bullets began flying, and 19-year-old Khalil Carter was killed, along with three other victims who were shot at the scene, aged 18, 19, and 17. Dice and On-Site were charged in 2018, and Dice eventually entered into a plea deal, cooperating on the case and informing police of JustBlow's involvement.
Because she's a girl. Y'all gotta stop doing street activities with females because there's no, like, jail ain't that bad, prison ain't that bad for women. These women is going to jail, going to prison, and they getting girlfriends. They're chilling. They ain't fighting and do all this crazy ass shit, man. They is in there chilling, dog. The men is fighting for their lives. The woman ain't. You think this girl gonna keep a solid field? Fuck no. That ain't going down like that.
She would accuse JustBlow of being the one who fired the fatal shots that killed Carter, and he faced multiple charges, including murder, aggravated robbery, and criminal confinement. If convicted, he's facing between 45 and 65 years. Mimo 600 would share his heartbreak on Facebook following JustBlow's arrest. In 2022, news would report that JustBlow, aka Mitchell, had actually pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of robbery resulting in serious bodily injury, and in 2023, reports would emerge that he had been sentenced to 18 years. This was a story that proved that the streets could still catch up with you.
That's not bad though. After facing 45 to 65 years, you only got 18 years. It's still bad you're in prison for 18 years, but you know, it's not that bad.
Later, when you were trying to do something positive. And unfortunately,
I got some time served on that too.
Edai,
you know,
having overcome the mockery of getting a legitimate job as a truck driver, would later find out that the streets would catch up with him too, ultimately taking his life.
Because Edai was dissing. Edai was doing a lot of dissing, man. Edai was doing a lot of
When Edai
dissing.
had seemingly distanced himself from the streets, becoming a truck driver with ambitions of building a company fleet to 100 trucks. On the side, he continued his rap career. Edai had been there front and center almost since the very beginning of the Chicago drill movement, even being part of one of the first drill beefs that was fought back and forth on tracks between him and the FBG rappers Duck and Billionaire Black. He was also the central character in some of the earliest songs that put 600 on the map, like 600 Part 1 and 2, Bail Out with Rondo, and his own solo tracks like War in 2014, as well as his later musical back and forth with 051 Driller, 600 Dead Opps. He remained active in music, posting numerous videos to his own YouTube channel from 2019 throughout 2020, and he was very active in July 2021, releasing back-to-back videos for his singles, 3D Rose Freestyle, and just 3 days later, the Matt Black Freestyle. Despite seemingly having distanced himself from the streets, Edai's music was still very much drill music and likely still made him a target for rival gangs. The user on Chiracology even made a long compilation of all the disses and threats towards Edai from 600's many ops. Now, releasing disrespectful songs like the track Tuka in the Trash Can obviously would infuriate his enemies and likely made him a lifetime target of his ops who he had been disrespecting so publicly.
And he was probably popping at ops too. He was in the streets.
Still looking for him, and it would only be a matter of time.
Edai was in the streets for real.
City. Early Sunday morning, on the 1st of August 2021, Edai was outside on the 3200 block of South Bennett Avenue, a 15-minute drive southeast from 600's neighborhood. While there, an unknown assailant would approach him, opening fire and shooting him multiple times in the chest. Edai would be rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where he would unfortunately be pronounced dead. Alleged police report of the incident would show that Edai had possibly saved a female friend by pushing her away from the line of fire before getting shot a total of 22 times. After this, the suspects would drive away in a gold-colored Buick SUV, and soon after the killing, a wild conspiracy theory began to spread that the shooter was actually Tay Capone. Tay would later talk about this on his YouTube channel, even posting an alleged recording of police radio mentioning him as a suspect.
When he got killed,
why would Tay do that? That don't make no sense.
I remember stories coming out trying to say that I killed him. And people thought, like, I remember waking up to like 50 bloggers doing whole stories about how I killed Edai. What? I couldn't believe that was being said, but it was like I had got this recording of like some like the police on their thing talking about me, like, and mentioning my name, saying the witnesses said the shooter goes by the name and they said my name.
But Tay would of course deny any allegations that he was
No,
involved
Tay didn't
in
do
his
that.
friend's murder.
Tay
But in
didn't
the
do
wake of
that.
the killing, intense speculation would swirl about who just might have been involved. Rapper Findy Boy would also talk about how he'd been under investigation related to the shooting due to a connection with the woman who was involved in the incident.
I was under investigation during that whole time, folks. Wow. He was like, yeah, Findy Boy got caught for that. But I didn't get caught. They only had me for like I was only in that at least like 8 hours, bro. Then I got out for it. I wasn't in that for it. And they was just asking me a lot of why. Y'all know that shit, though. About posting on the gram while I was talking about them on my story and all that goofy about the day where I was at. You know that goofy.
Right.
However, to this day, there have been no arrests related to the killing, and this case remains open.
Yeah, it'd be
It
a
would
lot
seem
of
that
that.
this murder hurt original 600 members hard. With
It'd be a lot of that though. I ain't gonna lie though. It'd be a lot of unsolved murders in Chicago. Like, it's just because I don't even know how a lot of murders go unsolved in Chicago. It just be crazy because you can get away with a lot of shit. And I don't know, bro. With all the police, the jump out boys, all the cameras, shot spotters, and all this crazy shit, a lot of murders still go unsolved. And the fact they thought Tay 600 did it out of everybody just let you know how they just don't know what the hell going on in Chicago. And I feel bad. He was trying to change his life, but at the end of the day, you can't be trying to change your life and then still dissing guys in the streets. You gotta pick a side. Either you're gonna be out that street shit or in that street shit. You can't do both. And he was trying to do both and caught up to him. But that's why it's just better to stay out that street shit more than anything. The deeper you get in that street shit, the worse it get for people, man. So RP Cooper, RP everybody that passed away, but that shit just a little crazy, man.